Washington's clear-thinking headquarters. The Morning Majority, 5 to 9 on 630 WMAL.
8:37 on WMAL. Brian Eamon, Tori Clark, former Pentagon spokeswoman, in this morning. A.B. Stoddard joins us now, columnist from The Hill. A.B., good morning. I had said, the whole getting Bin Laden thing, members of Congress, they all seem to be satisfied that they were somewhat kept in the loop, at least the important people. There haven't been many complaints about it, have there?
No, I think that this is just a real example of not only everything going right for the administration with a very risky decision. They had a lot of luck, but they also had a lot of skill, and I think that everyone, they obviously informed the appropriate people. They prepared well. They really planned this out, and they thought about every single contingency, and they thought about, what would happen, what the perception would be afterwards, having proof of Bin Laden's death and keeping everyone in the loop except the Pakistani government, and I think they did a really good job.
On that front, on Pakistan, obviously there are a lot of rumblings about how much aid we should be giving to Pakistan, considering that Bin Laden was hiding almost in plain sight. What are you hearing on that front?
Well, that's so interesting. The reaction was so quick on Capitol Hill yesterday to question our aid to Pakistan, our continued aid to Pakistan, and House Speaker John Boehner weighed in and said that he would oppose any move to withdraw or curtail our aid, and we have to think about how necessary our alliance, no matter how shaky, with Pakistan is. And I think he makes a very good point. I think we can attach strings. Certainly, we can up our monitoring of Pakistan. We can be firm with them, and we can cajole and threaten them in ways that will be productive. But I think to just throw our hands in the air and pack off is obviously is just going to make us less safe. I think it's a really interesting challenge for the administration to try to retain some kind of alliance that we desperately depend on for our security with them, but to try to cajole them somehow into better cooperation.
A.B., this is Tori. I always think that Boehner has one of the toughest jobs in town, managing what he has to manage.
Does.
And is this another issue on which he may have trouble with say the Tea Party types or the real conservatives in the party, some of whom seem to be the loudest voices saying cut off aid to Pakistan completely?
Absolutely. I mean, not only did after the election in November did he have to sort of educate the newcomers that the budget wasn't going to be balanced by cutting out earmarks and foreign aid, which many people in America believe remains our biggest spending problem. But now you see coalitions turning, with sort of libertarian Republicans and liberals, turning against the aid that we provide these many countries and these places that we now question their loyalty and their intentions. And I think that I always credit John Boehner with being a serious grown-up. I think he's done an incredible job so far, and he's under enormous pressure. And this will be another criticism that we don't have the money to spend, that they are not spending it well, that they are not allies, and that we need to revisit this. And as I pointed out, I think he makes a very good point that we are, whether we like it or not, we're dependent upon them for our safety, and I think that we need to find a way to continue a relationship that will require aid and just try to strengthen it and improve it.
So can you broaden this out to the bigger budget issues in general? And maybe it's too soon to say, but if I were the president and he's going to get a boost in the polls, he's going to have more political capital, I would, in the next week or 10 days, use some of that capital on the budget process. Do you think that might happen?
I really hope so, Tori. I think that's a really good point. I think the president really allowed Republicans in the House to drive the entire FY 2011 showdown debate last month, and I think that was a mistake. I think it's time for the Democrats to get in the driver's seat, particularly President Obama. And if he wants to get this vote on the debt ceiling over with, he needs to take a leadership role on it, and as you said, take advantage of this momentary goodwill and leverage that he has. And I think that he needs to make sure that the Democrats are offering proposals again and again, and not just waiting for Republicans to continue to come up with plans. It really looked like they were the ones keeping the government open in February and March, and I think that was a mistake for the Democrats.
All right, but having said that, Secretary of the Treasury Tim Geithner said the other day, well, I guess I have really until August before the stuff really hits the fan when it comes to the debt ceiling. So I don't expect anything to happen in the next couple of weeks. Do you, AB?
No, and that's really the depressing news. A surprise the Treasury Secretary would come out this early on May 2nd or 3rd and reveal that he has even more room. I think it emboldens the opposition, the Tea Party-backed freshmen and others and other veteran fiscal hawks in the House and Senate who don't want to raise the debt limit. And I think that that was the kind of information I probably would have come out with. Not that I'm fit to be Treasury Secretary, but I was surprised they didn't come out with that in July. But we're looking at, yes, a month-long struggle on this. I think Republicans are hoping for several votes on this so that their members can vote against it at least once. Politics will be played to the hilt, and I think I really think it's too bad, but we're going to blow past the May 16th deadline and certainly, up until August.
All right, what about the Gang of Six? Are they ever going to get a budget out?
The Gang of Six is staying very quiet because although they're hopeful that they'll have something, they don't want to make any promises and raise expectations, and they're under enormous pressure from both sides in the White House to sort of come in and be the white knight and rescue this whole situation. And we're looking at so many different steps here. If the audience will recall, we have an appropriations process that has to go underway. The big contentious Ryan budget that was voted on is just a blueprint. We have the need to increase the debt ceiling before we risk default now in August, and we have this long-term question of entitlement, curbing mandatory spending on things like Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security. They don't actually all necessarily end up in one vote and one grand bargain. People are talking about it like it will, but I think that we're looking at stages, and we're looking at what can Republicans and Democrats agree on immediately that can get us to the debt ceiling vote. And that, I think, on the Republican side will require statutory spending limits and some deep spending cuts. The Democrats are offering some kind of a trigger that the Republicans are saying isn't good enough. But are we going to come up with a master plan to rescue Medicare by the end of this summer?
No.
I don't think so.
All right, A.B. Great to talk to you. Thanks for coming to the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
A.B. Stoddard, Columnist of the Hill here on WM.